Catharina, and welcome to Entrepreneurcast. It's such a great pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Svietlana. Thank you. Love to see you.
So, Catharina, before we start with the business side of things, tell us a little bit about who are you outside of your business and what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well, I'm a mother of a very boisterous little boy, toddler, almost two, and a wife. So those two titles, if you may, keep me very busy. In my spare time, I tend to be outdoors a lot, like doing long walks, exhibitions, going out to restaurants, enjoying a bit of life in London. But yeah, a lot of my outside of work time is taken up by my child.
Yeah, your family, basically. The
Yeah.
family woman. So, what about your business? Tell us about your business and what inspired you to start it?
My business, I make wedding dresses. They're all bespoke and they're all one of a kind for each individual bride. And what inspired me was that at the time of my engagement, I was doing fashion and I had like a manufacturing company for other fashion brands. So I was very, very involved in sort of large scale productions of garments for quite big names and then some not so known, up and coming. And it was during looking for my own wedding dress. I kind of always knew I would make my dress, but I didn't have an idea in my head what I would want. So I went out and did the whole, looking in the boutiques and everything, and I just couldn't find anything that I liked. And the only dress I really liked was by Oscar de la Renta Couture, and there's no way I would have bought that. So yeah, that inspired me really because I realized that there was a gap in the market that I thought could be helped by me doing the kind of dresses that I felt were missing. And then, but that, yeah, but that kind of crystallized, I think, that idea on our honeymoon. So the engagement and looking for the dress triggered it, but then it crystallized at the honeymoon where I kind of just turned around to my husband on the beach and said, you know what, I think I'm going to do this as a business in addition to my factory. Um, so yeah, then I was doing a factory for good 3 years afterwards. And then I decided to sell the factory. It's got a new owner now and just concentrate on the bridal. So that's kind of how it evolved into a bridal business.
So, you designed your very own wedding dress?
Yes, I did. Yes, it was a two-piece. I say two-piece. It was one dress, but then underneath the long skirt, I had a short chiffon skirt, and it was all very light, so nobody actually really knew that there could have been another skirt underneath. So it wasn't like a big poofy skirt, and underneath was small. It was actually all chiffon, very flowy, Art Deco, hand beading, but simple. I think my husband was expecting me to have like a ball gown or something, but I came down with a very simple dress.
So, do you design all your dresses by yourself, or do you actually get brides coming and giving you their vision, and then you design what they have in their head for them?
More the latter, but I do also get involved. So brides generally have a pretty good idea what they want. They're confident and they've got their own unique look, and they go to the shops like I did in the beginning of my bridal business and can't find something. And the more you've tried on, the more you realize what you want. And so when the brides come, they've kind of done all the legwork, and they're like, well, I want this bit from this kind of a look, but then that from that kind of a look, and then we discuss it. It doesn't always match, what they think is going to work might not actually be even possible to do. Most of the time it is, but sometimes there's little things that might need tweaking. So that's my input is more kind of supporting and making it reality rather than giving my own sort of taste, because that's what it would be if I start designing my taste and I'm doing the bride's taste. And so yeah, it's a bit of both, really.
So you basically are helping women to get their dream dresses.
Yeah, exactly. I'm their support system.
Amazing. So Katharina, between your family life and your business, what would you say your typical day looks like?
My typical day, yes, I've I've kind of um, divided my week, if you may, in two. Well, maybe in three even. But so my my work day starts off with me taking my child to nursery, waking up around 6, doing all the porridge and getting him dressed and at the door. And then I come to my studio in South Wimbledon, and I work like a demon when I'm here. I maximize every minute. I get done so much more now than I used to do, because when you've only got so much time,
Mm.
you realize the preciousness of it, and you kind of, yeah, you just really get to the point, don't you? You just do it. And then I rush back home, collect him from nursery, make dinner, and be a mummy again. So that's my work day. And my mummy days, well, as you can imagine, they're just mummy, 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 mummy. you know, Mummy hat on. I do a few phone calls here and there and emails, you know, texting whilst cooking, whilst he's sleeping, that kind of multitask thing. And then there's the weekend, which is really fully family, apart from Saturday, actually. Saturday is my work day as well. Yeah, they tend to merge.
So, Katharina, throughout our business life, all the entrepreneurs and business owners come across a lot of challenges. What would you say was your greatest challenge, and how did you manage to overcome it?
I think there's been a few, actually, and they came when I had the factory. So the garment manufacturing factory where we made other fashion designers collections, and one was staffing. That was actually a real challenge, because for me, in my line of work, you are only as good as really your quality. When I had the factory, if you gave out a garment that wasn't stitched to perfection, it would come back, and it's your reputation on the line. So finding people who were sort of up to the kind of standard was very difficult, and the way we overcame that was training. We'd get someone in who had the potential and the drive and the kind of passion for the skill, and just trained. I think that was probably the best solution for it, rather than trying to look for that needle in the haystack. You can really mold a person when you train them, what
Mm.
exactly how you want something to be done. And the other one, I think, was time management, which is now very different to what it was then. But back then, when you've got 20 clients and each client had 10 designs and 3 sizes, all of a sudden you've got a multiple of moving pieces, and they all needed to be kind of, well, delivered on time. There was no option to not. So we had a bit of funding for that from Manufacturing Advisory Service, MAS. They were really helpful. They put it in place like an Excel sort of working sheet where we inputted how long exactly did one garment take and how many of them, and it kind of came out with a graph, and that was a really, really good tool. And maybe reaching out to get help from an external company might not be the first idea that comes to your mind with a problem, but
Mm.
that really did help us a lot then. Now
Great.
it's just plain sailing. We're just doing one-off beautiful dresses and have no problems whatsoever.
Amazing. So, on the bright side of things, What
Yeah.
would you say was your greatest success?
In this bridal side, well, I think just actually being able to do what I love, in all honesty, because it's such an honor to be making a bride's dream dress. It's a once, well, we hope, once in a lifetime occasion, and the kind of the sort of the emphasis and this importance that brides put on that dress is huge, and some of them have thought about it all their lives. I've had brides with an Excel sheet. I've had brides with a PowerPoint. I've had brides with a map of pictures, and they really thought about it, and they've come here to have it made. So it's I think for me that's the greatest achievement, to be able to have the facility to do that.
Wow. I I I had no idea that women take that much time to,
Yeah.
like think about the dress.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I've had brides who's come to me 2 years before their wedding day to start the process of making it. There's we all come in various sort of mindsets to it, but it's a big thing. It's a really important dress, and I wasn't, when I got engaged, I wasn't actually one of those girls who were like constantly thinking about the wedding dress. I was very much into fashion, not necessarily into that one dress. But when you really start looking into it, boy, it was, I mean, you're married, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but
Well, funnily enough, I'm a bit different.
fine.
Yeah, we with us everything happened really fast, and
Okay.
I had a very simple white dress, like really simple dress. It wasn't even like a proper wedding dress. I didn't really mind. I just for us, for both of us, it was all about the vows,
Hmm.
and we didn't invite anyone. Nobody knew.
Wow.
We only had witnesses there and a
Okay, well,
photographer.
you're like the polar opposite.
Yeah. So I'm totally different. For me, it was really just very intimate occasion for me and my partner,
Yeah.
to exchange our vows and to promise that this is for
But
life.
that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, when I say that a bride have such PowerPoints and presentations about their dress, not everyone is like that,
Yeah.
and that's great. How one-dimensional life would be if everyone would be the same.
Yeah. That's why I said it's so interesting how other women, just get it. So like,
Mm.
oh my God, it's a wedding dress. Oh, it's a wedding. With us, it was just very simple, and it was still, equally beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm
yeah.
sure it was unique to you. It was your day. It was your special day.
So Katharina, just for fun, really, where do you come up with your best ideas?
Where? On the move, I would say, because I'm never just sat down really. So when I'm out walking, actually, I have to be honest with my husband. When we're walking through St James's Park and we have a good chat, that's, I think, when we come up with best ideas. And long drives, because what else are you going to do apart from talk? So yeah, on the move.
And throughout life, we come across a lot of, I would say, personal heroes or people who inspire us. Do you
Mm.
have any personal heroes?
That is a very good question. And I've often thought about that. And I have people who I admire for various reasons. But I'm lacking a hero. Like a businessy hero. I have my life hero, which is my husband, um, and he's quite something. But design wise, there's Cristobal Balenciaga, who was at the forefront of that modern, which we would call modern design, back then when it was not the done thing. There's Lanvin as a brand. There's so many in fashion that I would say, wow, they've come up with something which is truly unique. In business, I tend to go very much with my gut when it comes to business. I think because I've been brought up in a sort of businessy family. Everyone in my family have their own business, and so it's kind of been like the supper talk, trading, and it's kind of such a part of me that I've not searched for, like a mentor or something like this. So yeah, a tricky one, really. Tricky one to answer. I need to think about that one.
You've been in business for a long time, obviously second business, and you gained obviously a lot of experience and wisdom. So out of your experience and wisdom, what would be your top three tips and strategies that you would advise to a listener today?
Ooh, another good one. Maybe in some ways I touched on one of those points on the previous question where I say, I go with gut. I think that's really important, to not try to overthink something. If something feels right, it probably is right, and vice versa. You shouldn't, give yourself some credit when it comes to the sort of going with your gut feeling. I think it's not a strategy. That's kind of what I've gone by. To be honest, I've said to my one of my best friends that who is like a massive strategic thinker. She has strategies for everything, and I'm a bit the opposite actually. Um, I kind of go organically into things. Might not be the best strategy on the planet, but I think of something and I kind of just head to it.
Mm.
I don't necessarily put in place big kind of points. These are the points I need to meet. I have something, but it's a very loose structure. I kind of tend to feel my way there, if that makes sense.
So you're
Um,
an action taker.
yeah,
You just go
yeah.
for
I
it.
think that said friend who's that very strategic thinker bought me a notepad, so I've to try and jot down all my sort of thoughts, and I've done that now, and I'm finding that extremely helpful actually. So maybe that's my point three: jot it down, have it with you all the time, and write them in there, not in your phone, on the notes. It's not the same as seeing a note. Gosh, they're probably not very businessy, but yeah, that's me.
So, did you come across any resources that you could share with us that helped you within your business?
Um, I would say that there's a lot of business help actually out there from like London College of Fashion, Fashion Enterprise, Fashion Capital. Fashion Capital, by the way, is amazing. When I started out yonks ago, they were super helpful. They were the go-to guys for me, particularly Jenny Holloway. She was amazing. She's actually turned out being one of my best friends and was in my wedding and everything. So amazing people. So yeah, resources wise, I would say use all available free help there is, because there is some. You're not alone. So yeah, Fashion Enter. No, it was Fashion Capital now. Yeah, Fashion Capital.
So, people who do not know how to find that help, how do they go about it? Is it just Google?
Yeah, Google. You can find if you Google, for instance, fashion business help, for instance, I'm sure it'll come up. Also, if you're from not UK, you can get help from your own embassy. I found the Finnish embassy for me was extremely helpful. They had a huge list of PR, marketing, supply, everything you could possibly think of. They had a list, and they're keen to support their own country, So they were really great. But yeah, Google, I think, probably is the first point.
So, Katharina, I come across a lot of people who say that at some point in life they came across a book that changed their life. Did you have such a book, and what was it, if you did?
Yikes. I think, well, I'm more of a movie person. I love movies, but I do read books, obviously, like everyone does. But I think there was one book where I don't really remember even the name. I think it was something Island. I'm sure it's hugely embarrassing for me not to remember it particularly, as I think it's actually quite a famous book. But I read it as a child many, many, many years ago, and it was about a group of people who were left on a stranded island, and it was about the dynamic and how people changed on that island. They kind of turned against each other, and I remember thinking that I don't want to be one of those people. I never want to turn against anyone, and that I want to be a compassionate person, have empathy and kindness and all that sort of greed that was kind of oozing out of the book when people were so mean to one another. I think that kind of changed. Not that I was ever a mean person, but I think it kind of just highlighted that, gosh, could that possibly happen? Well, I don't want that to happen to me. And yeah, I think that kind of opened my eyes to what the dark side of the human nature could be, and became very much aware of it and not wanting to kind of go there.
Hmm. Well, you said you really like movies. I do too. So, was there a movie as well that maybe triggered something in you or inspired you in some way?
Yes, Star Wars. But honest to God, it was so amazing. When he came out, it was mind blowing. And the costumes there were, I think, what inspired me to go into fashion, in all honesty. I just thought that they're just so different, and how amazing would it be to make, imaginative clothing.
Mm,
I think that inspired me to go into fashion.
amazing. So Katharina, you came a long way. You in your second business, you're doing great. What is next for you? What's your next big goal, dream, aim? And if there is someone listening who could potentially help you get there, who would it be?
Ooh, wow. Well, currently I'm working on a sort of evening dress line, so that's kind of like third business, if you may, fourth actually, if I'm really really sort of counting everyone. Yeah, going into evening dresses, and there's two. I'm working on one children's book actually that's currently being illustrated. If there is a publisher out there listening, please do get in touch. I would love to publish that little kiddie's book, or I'll go sort of down the self-publishing route. Evening dresses. Well, if there's someone who's in the know of how to really kind of maximize Instagram from a marketing perspective, I would love to hear from you, because I'm very much a maker. I make the dresses, um, and I do need to brush up a bit on that marketing side, because when you're making wedding dresses, well, you're marketing to that bride who's in front of you. You know, you're not trying to capture the wider audience for that one dress. But for evening dresses sold in a more commercial manner, yeah, you kind of need to think a bit differently about the marketing. So, yes, Instagrammers, be keen to hear from you.
Awesome. Catharina, we are coming to the end of the show, but before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else you would like to add or advise to us today?
Yeah, I'd like to say that keeping whatever your business is, keeping it as an ethical business and a sustainable business and a transparent one are really important. There's these big companies out there who, like the dispatches shows that have been coming out lately, are highlighting that what you see isn't always the full truth. And whatever the business is, I would really be heartened to think that people want to be kind, and sustainable in a way that nobody's getting hurt, by either buying your product or working for you. So yeah, I would advocate that, if you may.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Katharina. For anyone who would like to get in touch, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Probably email, which is info@my-eden.co.uk, or if you just Google My Eden Bridal, you'll find our website and contact us page. Facebook. There's many avenues. I'm out there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a great pleasure having you, and I really
Thanks for the
hope
invite.
I really hope we'll catch up soon.
I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Thank